Hello, Haywood Community College, English 111 students. This is Miss Robinson. I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview for the week so that you could kind of know what to expect. Please excuse my son in the background. He's kind of making noises and playing. So if you hear him, that's what it is. So, all right, let's go ahead and go navigate to your Moodle page. So I'm going to project my screen so that you can see. And just so that you all know, I have definitely been noticing some patterns and questions. So I wanted to make sure that I was addressing your questions this week. So you should see here, this is your week 3 coursework. And so for every week, we're going to have bulleted like topics here of things that I expect you as asynchronous students to be able to walk through on your own, considering the fact that I'm not there to help coach you. Some of the strategies that you read about in Beyond the Yellow Highlighter, as well as some of like our talk to the text things that we've discussed. Those are really helpful as you're moving through difficult text, especially like poetry or any of the articles that might catch you off guard. And just remember to like move through those and talk to the text and like keep a conversation going. Make sure that if any questions arise that you put them in the forum or you email me directly. I'm happy to help. So since some of you have been having some issues with textbooks, so some of these are Norton's that are referenced. If you don't have access to the textbook because of something with the bookstore, just email me. I will give you a temporary online book for access. But okay, without further ado, so let's go walk through this week. So week 3, the following up from last week, pick a topic for essay 1 and a text from Norton that you want to quote in essay 1. And so that is in the essay 1 directions, which I can go through here in a moment. Last week, there was some brainstorming that was happening with outlining, and then there was also just like your 2-sentence story. So like you can kind of build on that from where you are. And the other reading is Where to Begin Using Place-Based Writing to Connect Students to the Local Communities. So that's really good to help like create a more robust sense of your diction and also like giving you a really nice way to settle into setting. And then there's another piece called How to Connect Ideas in an Essay to help build your personal narrative a little bit more. And then for a reading response for this week, I'm going to dive kind of into some Whitman poetry to help you kind of process through some style stuff. And then our writing workshop is creating an outline for essay 1. So if you're in my 011 class or English 11, like this is where you kind of build on those skills and you can refine your outline from there. And then we're also going to be delving into some paragraphs with topic sentences transitions. And so that's a selection from the Norton to read to help you with your essay. So the only tasks for this week are your reading reflection number 3, which will be specifically on Whitman, and then a self-assessment for me to kind of take stock of where you are with your writing, what you need from me, and then your outline for essay 1. Again, if you have been working on your outline in English 011, like this is where I'm going to really see you develop those ideas even more and make your ideas more robust. So if you've already started it, great. I just want to see you develop them a little bit more. So as for Walt Whitman, there are 2 pieces here. One is I Hear America Singing in Song with Myself, which has a selection from those passages, and then a testament to Walt Whitman. So these are 2 pieces that I really, as you're thinking about your reading response, I want you to think about like stylistically, like what are some things about like personal testimonies or like personal confessional poetry that these poets use in their writing in order to tell an authentic personal story? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to write your essay like Walt Whitman or like Erica Jong talking to Walt Whitman, but it is a way for you to think about the words and the diction and how those words are going to create a sense of who you are and what your values are and what you believe based on what kinds of tools that you use in order to navigate that. And so as you're reading those and as you're responding to that, the goal is that you're going to get some really good ideas for how you can develop your own thoughts and your own writing and your own sense of style. And so going through the writing workshop, click on Essay 1 Instructions. And if you haven't had a chance to look at this yet, this is How Do I See the World? So that kind of builds on what we were talking about with Walt Whitman. So there are 3 pieces here. So Tan, De La Pena, and Langston Hughes. And so a lot of those we read last week. So they're a good springboard for you to write on. So you're going to use one of those 3 texts as a quote that you're going to use in your writing. Now, I haven't put it in the instructions, but if you decide you'd prefer to do Walt Whitman, that's also fine too. I just didn't put it in the instructions because I kind of put Walt Whitman in this week because I found some really good pieces that I thought would be really nice to use. So how do you see the world? So it goes through the reading and the text that you would use as a basis for your idea, but you must include an introduction, a thesis, your body paragraphs, a quote from step 1, and then a conclusion. Now, in here it says 6 sentences, 4 sentences. That comes from some of the reading that you did, like Beyond the Yellow Highlighter and other things. I'm more flexible when it comes to like sentences and word choice, as long as you're getting the point across. However, that being said, I do want to make sure that you're focusing enough on the text and making sure that your ideas are more robust. Make sure it's an MLA format. And then just a couple of reminders, remember to tell a story. This is about you. This is your personal narrative, but really like hone in on those details that we've been talking about. Be brief, name your belief, be positive, be personal. And so as you're thinking about it, like just keep in mind that I'm going to be looking much more for like your voice and style and the story that you tell, as opposed to you meeting every single convention. However, that being said, like you still want to adhere to MLA format. So on that note, I'm going to go back. Okay. And so continuing on from some of the things that you did in English 011, if you did not do this in English 011, like this is something that you will need to work through. It's outlining guide, outlining strategies. And then I have a little self-assessment tool of like your grade goals for the class, seeing as this is the foundational class for many upper level classes and then also certifications. So what kind of goal are you trying to get? Like, what is the grade that you want? So your coursework for the week will be your reading response number 3. This is going to be specifically on Walt Whitman's poetry to help you develop some ideas about your own sense of style. Your self-assessment. And so if you take a second to look at the self-assessment, it's going to ask you, you do not have to respond to a classmate, but what classroom format meets your schedule and what do you like best? What are the challenges and roadblocks that you've had with our class, with an asynchronous class? And you've completed assignments that test your analytical research and writing skills. But based on the work that you've done, like how do you want to build on your skills moving into other college classes? And how can I help you to do that, of course? And so those are just things that I really want information from you on, just so that I can help tailor the instruction to your needs. And the last thing is to upload your outline for Essay 1. So of course, if you are one of my support students in English 11, like you will probably already have a working outline. So this is a place where you can kind of take what you've already started brainstorming and kind of fully develop it. So that it's more in line with what you feel like it will look like in the final draft. And again, keep in mind that like it's okay if this writing changes. It's okay if you have a change in the story that you want to tell. Like those things are all fine. Just keep in mind that like you have to have an end goal before you begin writing. And that doesn't mean that writing itself is not a process. It is. It just means that like you need to understand that like you have to tell a story and the story has to come to a conclusion. And so what that looks like will be dependent upon how you unravel that story. So on that note, my son is still playing in the background. I hope that you were able to hear some of what I said, even though he was talking. But it's lovely to have you all. And please let me know if you have any questions this week. And have a great night.